Borg's father taught him that grieving your dead soldiers is weakness, that a true noble stands on their bodies and moves forward without a tear. Turan hears that and basically shrugs, then I'll never be strong. Hold on to that line because this entire chapter is a parade of people who got powerful by feeling nothing, and one kid who point-blank refuses the deal. And that's the thesis of the whole episode. In this world, strength means not caring. Turan keeps failing that test on purpose and keeps being the deadliest thing in the room anyway. So they promote each other from guy I rescued to actual friends. Age gaps basically nothing, Berg looks maybe 30. File that away, it becomes hilarious in about 4 beats. Then Berg gives the world's most enthusiastic camping gear tour. Cold storage chest, food lasts a week. Press a button, water. Another tool builds you a shelter out of loose wood and screams if anyone gets close. He's basically an enchanter with an infomercial energy, and honestly, I'm sold. Self-cleaning clothes too. Turan just says impressive, flat, unbothered, the way you'd nod at a nice fridge. Now here's the part that gets me. Berg starts listing the magic he's watched Turan casually throw around on the road. Animal control, freezing, levitation, liquid manipulation, enhancement, light, restraint, terrain reshaping, lightning, and oh yeah, instant death. He's lost count. A kid with no formal training has a wider spellbook than a house enchanter and delivers it like a chore. So Berg asks the obvious thing, do you have some bloodline that lets you master any magic you want? Turan goes, we agreed not to pry. And Berg immediately backpedals, just kidding, no way a bloodline like that exists. Buddy, you have no idea how right you were to ask. Then the age question. Berg figured Turan might secretly be 80 since wizards age slow. Nope, he turns 18 in a month. 18. This whole terrifying resume belongs to a teenager who spent the last 8 years alone on a mountain herding sheep. Berg's takeaway, took down 2 wraith sorcerers, must be a once-in-a-generation genius. Then casually, I know another one your age. My cousin. Meet Mesa, a princess of Arabian, the great northern house Kiorn served for 60 years by the way, and the frontrunner to eventually run the whole thing. Berg says her bloodline is genuinely incredible, and he does not hand that word out for free. The numbers on her are stupid. Awakened her power, then mastered every school of combat magic in 10 years flat. At 21, she's already nearly level with the core elders of a great house. Berg describes her like she's ascending, becoming a literal god. And here's the ugly little engine underneath all of it and my callback to the top. Remember the thesis, feeling nothing is strength. When their eldest granduncle died, Mesa devoured his magic power. The family split the rest like an inheritance. That is literally how the great houses stay on top, they eat their own dead. Turan grieves his, they metabolize theirs, told you it'd matter. They finally arrive. The Dacian Plains, Central Arabian, Berg's own turf, home stretch should be safe. It is not safe. Something's wrong, and the first word out of Berg's mouth is mom. Turns out his name is Aziz, and the house head, his aunt, hears dark elves attacked my nephew and immediately volunteers to raise an army and tear them to shreds. Someone has to tell her to compose herself, people are watching. Great house dignity, holding on by a thread. Then she turns to Turan, which house are you from? And this is where our boy just tells the truth. I can't say. Honestly, I don't know. Commoner mother, never met my father. Aziz is stunned, you never told me that. Turan, not exactly something to brag about. Meanwhile, we the audience are screaming because we know exactly whose blood is hiding in there. The head's ready to reward him properly for saving Aziz, but there's a snag. A very important guest is hiding in the house right now, so letting in a stranger of unknown origin is a problem. Hope you understand, mysterious sheep boy. And here's the gut punch setup. The guest is the princess of Arabian Mesa, hiding here because she was nearly assassinated at the main house. By whom? Zahar's vermin, Zahar, the same house whose blood runs in Turan, so the kid they're nervously letting pass the gate is unknowingly related to the exact people who just tried to murder their VIP. The dramatic irony in this chapter could power a city. Worse, an assassination inside a fortress that's secure means there's an insider. And the head basically confirms the main house is crawling with people whose loyalty is, let's say, negotiable. Rod at the top of the Golden family. Shocking. So they park Turan in the second best guest room. Second best. The man saved the air and got a silver medal bedroom. Icon behavior. Next morning, Turan's up at dawn poking at a magic lantern Aziz apparently churns out for fun. Aziz offers him one. Turan, ever the enthusiast, I'm not that interested. The most low-energy house guest in fantasy history. Then they spot Mesa already out training because of course she is. Aziz cops to it plainly. He's never hated his own bloodline, but he's a little envious watching her like she's becoming a literal god. There's that phrase again. In this family, that's not a compliment, it's a scoreboard. And now the misdirection pays off. All that you saved me were friends' warmth. Aziz admits the real reason he dragged Turan here. He's dying to know who's stronger, Turan or Mesa. There's a grudge. He wants to watch Mesa frustrated just once in his entire life. And the grudge's origin is perfect. Once they practiced together, and Mesa learned in 2 tries what took Aziz a whole week, so he stormed off crying. Years later, this grown enchanter's revenge plan is to import a stranger as a weapon. Never let it go, king. So Aziz just blurts it out. How about you two have a duel? And Mesa, the 21-year-old god in progress, sizes up the 18-year-old sheep boy and delivers the last line. I hate to say this, but I don't think you're a match for me. Here's my bet. Remember, the whole chapter's about people who got strong by eating and feeling nothing. Turan's the one who won't play that game, and he's about to make the literal god eat those words. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The single most talented prodigy in the building challenges a shepherd to a magic duel. And by the end of it, she's unconscious in his arms, and he's the one reading her body like a diagnostic screen. Let's rank what actually happened here, because the scoreboard lies. So first, Aziz splits Turan's stat sheet in 2. Pure mana pool, he admits it, Turan is not Mesa's match. But learning speed, spell acquisition, raw talent, genius unlike anyone he's seen, even Mesa doesn't top that column. Mesa's response to being told a stranger's more talented than her is exactly what you'd expect from a princess. Let's see what you've got. Each casts a magic the other doesn't know. First to succeed wins. And here's the handicap she doesn't even know she's giving. Turan can't use his bloodline magic, he literally doesn't know what it is yet. Mesa, being gracious, benches her unique magic too. Wouldn't be fair. Keep that word fair, it ages like milk. She goes first. Plant creation and manipulation, vines erupt, wrap Turan up, and she spins him around in the air like a toy. Stay there for a sec, this is fun. The prodigy is winning and she knows it. Except while he's getting motion sick, he's also reverse engineering the spell. Fire magic doesn't invent fire, it manifests the phenomenon. Water magic just pulls moisture from the air. Vines, same trick, accelerating seeds already buried in the ground, so it's not creation. It's cheating physics politely. His conclusion delivered while nauseous. I guess even Aziz could be right sometimes. Devastating, that's the guy hyping you. Now his turn. And here's the power-scaling knife edge. The one spell that'd trivialize this Zahar bloodline magic is off the table, because in a room full of Arabian nobles, casting it is, quote, practical suicide. So he improvises. He grabs a creature as raw material and casts something completely silent. No incantation, no flare, no tell. Perfect. A finished spell out of nothing. The whole room's reaction is the same 3 words. What on earth did he do? Silent magic, and Mesa's take is unbothered right back at him. That's pretty creepy. His excuse? It just came to mind right then. Sure, improvised a technique nobody in the room recognizes. Turan clocks the bigger thing here. Even a prestigious house like Arabian doesn't know this magic. File that. When the shepherd knows something the royal family doesn't, that's not a coincidence, that's the second bloodline talking. Aziz calls it Turan wins. Mesa's pride cannot process this. You think I can't do this? And that ego is about to cost her the whole scoreboard. Then Turan drops the actual power scaling lesson of the chapter. Success at magic hinges on causality, how clearly you perceive the cause of the phenomenon you're triggering. Better perception means higher success rate and lower mana cost. That's the efficiency stat nobody talks about. And the one way to fake low causality, overwhelm it. Dump a massive amount of mana and let sheer quantity paper over the inefficiency. Guess which route the prodigy with the huge mana pool takes. Rot while it's still alive. She forces it and it works. Oh, it worked. And then she drops, just folds. Everyone panics. Aziz is shouting her name and Turan doesn't flinch. He's already running the numbers. Here's the read that makes this chapter. He rules it out instantly. You don't collapse from mana depletion alone. She's not out of gas. She's suffering from exhaustion so deep she doesn't even have the strength to reinforce her own body. The mana wasn't the problem. He takes over like it's routine, water and salt. No healing bloodline mage around, call the adults. And then the detail that recontextualizes the entire fight. She's so light he can't tell if he's holding a person or a lamb. From the start, she was barely maintaining a body she couldn't sustain. So re-rank it. On paper, Mesa's the prodigy with the bigger mana pool. In reality, she's running a body on fumes, brute-forcing spells because her efficiency is shot. The weaker one just diagnosed the stronger one. Talent and durability are not the same tier. When she wakes, the family assumes the stranger attacked her. They've got him under observation in the temple. She shuts it down. It's not that person's fault, I just made a mistake. Then kicks everyone out, covering for the guy who beat her. Interesting. Quiet beat, someone leaves soup, noting she doesn't eat because of the magic. A prodigy who's slowly starving herself for power. That's the cost this world keeps hinting at. Then a fever dream, a crying voice. Help me, Mesa, I know you, it hurts so much, sister. We don't get a face. Hold on to that voice, that's a loop the story just opened and did not close. Hard cut underground. Chamber beneath Hausborg's temple, the temple of the limping goddess. Harem Borg is warning someone not to even think about breaking out. The prisoner's answer is the most relaxed line in the chapter. Wasn't thinking of it anyway. Back to Turan and the theme turns physical. He's watching a man train, every motion the minimum preparation, pure efficiency of a trained body. Turan's expert analysis of it, I thought it was cool. Genius mind, 0 notes. The swordsman lays out the counter-doctrine to this whole magic world. Nobles dismiss weapon arts because it's easier to blast from range, but that's just weak bodies. The mind doesn't command the flesh, so they lean on tricks. Unless your bloodline's built for strength, magic is the smart play. But real combat forces the range shut. Situations come where you have to face it up close whether you want to or not, and then the flex. This is just an iron bar. What makes it a sword is the body of the wielder. With your weak body now, you couldn't possibly cut me. And Turan, the guy who's outscaled every fight so far on pure magic, just agrees. True, even if I did try something. A rare, honest 0 on a stat sheet that's otherwise absurd. So here's my power read. This chapter isn't about who won the duel. It's the setup for Turan's next stat to unlock the physical one, and I'd bet that Iron Bar guy becomes the body training he's been missing. Meanwhile, the real mystery is that crying sister and whoever's in that cage. Bet one of them's tied to Mesa. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The kid who beat a princess in a wizard duel last chapter. This chapter he gets absolutely wrecked by a guy holding a plain iron bar, and it's the best thing that could happen to him. Hold on to that, it's the whole point. Harem's whole thesis, and yet it lands. The bar isn't the sword, your body is. And Turan's body right now is technically a wet noodle that reads monster encyclopedias. Turan tries pouring mana into the bar like a wizard reflex. Wrong room. This is the one arena where his mana pile means nothing. Cue the most relatable content in the whole series. Elbow too high. Front legs, breathe into your muscles, 10 reps. Our undefeated genius wizard is getting form checked like it's leg day. And here's the line I'd tattoo on the series. Mana is a parlor trick and wizards just assume their bodies are guaranteed. This is foreshadowing dressed as a workout. Remember it. Scene change. Mesa comes to apologize. She's the reason Turan got locked in that temple, and she feels awful about it. Turan's response is just, "It was necessary, you're safe." 4 words, man doesn't do speeches. Somewhere a princess's heart rate quietly ticks up and she'd deny it under oath. Then she gets to the real reason she's here, that wrought magic from the duel. The one that made a living thing decay. She's convinced it's secret bloodline magic and the mana cost was, quote, absurd. And here's the tell nobody flags. She straight up asks if he lied about it being learnable. She's this close to the truth about the Zahar bloodline and doesn't even know it. Keep that in your back pocket. Turan, cool as ever, understand the principle, you can do it too. So Mesa proposes a trade, his secret for one of Arabian's secret arts. Fair. The reveal, it's not bloodline magic at all. It's bio-enhancement using microorganisms too small to see. She brute-forced her own version and burned mountains of mana because she couldn't perceive the thing she was enhancing. Efficiency, again. It's always efficiency with this kid. How irritating, it's my loss then. She's mad she lost and madder that the answer was simple, peak princess energy. Then she asks him to tell Aziz it was a draw because she can't stand the idea of that guy getting cocky. Petty, correct? I respect it. Her secret art in return, finger friction, rub objects together and they attract. Sounds tiny. She calls it one of Arabian's genuinely profound arts. File that away, small mechanic, big future. And then the softest hard launch of a training deal ever. Let's train together. This is just to repay my debt, not because I need you, okay? Sure it is. The garden every evening, locked in. Now the dinner. They've laid out a feast so absurd Turan says he's never seen this much food on his own birthday. The patriarch gets down to business. His son Aziz promised a powerful magic tool as the price of his own life. Turan asks for something defensive, a protection from surprise attacks, something he can carry always. And that request tells you exactly what kind of guy Turan is. Everyone in a manhwa wants the biggest sword. This one asks for a shield, a quiet one. That's not humility, that's a man who knows people are coming for him. The build, mana embedded in jewelry, rings, earrings, to draw out a guardian bloodline's defensive power. Made by the head wizard of an enchanter's house, a full month of work. Turan says it's excessive. The patriarch's comeback is a gut punch. If this is excessive, doesn't that mean my son's life is worth that little? Yeah, he's not wrong. But Aziz pulls Turan aside with the actual warning, and this is my favorite bit of politics. Mom gives generously, puts you in debt, introduces a pretty young lady, and suddenly you're a member of House Borg. Several adults got recruited exactly like that. So the gifts aren't just kindness, they are a hook. Good to know before you accept the shiny protective ring, buddy. Aziz drags him out to enjoy the day, and this is where the chapter quietly detonates. They catch a play, and it's about the year 2195, Arabians warriors in the Demon Desert, and a knight named Kiorn. Kiorn, the old man who taught Turan everything, who served Arabian for 60 years, now the hero of a stage legend. And Turan just thinks, someday I'll ask him if that story's true. He has no idea what's coming. Here's my prediction, and I'll say it loud. That wanted felon poster flashing in this scene isn't decoration. Kiorn's not just a retired mentor, he's a legend and a hunted man. The kindly shepherd's teacher has a war crime-sized secret, and Turan's bloodline is going to collide with it. Then the montage, 3 weeks vanish. Mornings with Haram in a gravity room where one misstep buries you in the floor, evenings doing lightning drills with Mesa. The wet noodle is becoming a weapon. Mesa's stuck trying to aim lightning a new way, doesn't it just hit if you shoot it? And even she admits it's harder than it looks. The princess is learning to think instead of overpower. Growth. And then the summons lands like a hammer. Dark elves are rampaging in the south. 3 cities already fallen. An expedition force is assembling. Same dark elf necromancers Turan wrecked back in chapter 11, now at war scale. So here's the whole forecast. Turan trained his weak body for exactly this, a war where surprise attacks and defense keep you breathing. That's why he asked for the shield. Mesa's dream of a crying sister, the prisoner under the temple, and Kiorn's felon's secret all feed into this southern campaign. My bet, Turan doesn't just join the expedition, the dark elves are the door to his second, locked bloodline. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. This whole chapter is handshakes, going away gifts, and heartfelt goodbyes, and it ends with someone pointing at the single nicest guy in the story and screaming murderer. So you know, standard shepherd afternoon. We open on the war drum we heard last chapter actually landing. Dark elves are tearing through the south, cities have already fallen, and Arabians assembling an expedition force. Remember chapter 14 ended on this exact summons, so the story's not bluffing. Someone high up says, tell them I'll return soon, and Turan quietly decides he should go take a look himself. Man cannot smell a crisis 2 regions away and just sit there. It's a compulsion at this point. But first, Mesa shows up to settle a debt. Callback. Last chapter, these two started trading secrets like a schoolyard, her wrought magic for his everything. Now she's back to pay off that creepy corruption magic with something bigger. Her opener, Turan, do you know electricity flows through the human body? He doesn't, obviously. The shepherd who learned the world from a monster encyclopedia has a few gaps. So she frames it as an Arabian secret teaching and calls the debt square if she explains it properly. Fair trade, allegedly. Here's the actually clever part. The brain reads sensation as electricity and fire signals back to move the body, and if you accelerate that current with mana, your perception and reaction speed jump. Which is chapter 13's whole thesis wearing a new coat. Turan already told us magic is about perceiving causality faster. She just weaponized it into raw reflexes. She asks what happens. He answers correctly before the lesson's even done, and she goes, shouldn't you be a scholar instead of doing this? The recurring bit where everyone realizes Turan's brain is the real cheat code. Then he just does it. Feels the minute electricity threading his whole body, pushes the lightning through the pathway faster, and gets there in one try. It works and then it hurts. Headache, hard to adjust, the classic new skill tax. But Mesa admits this is far too much compared to what I've given you. She knows she just handed him a monster of a technique. And here's the line to hold on to. She calls it an investment and says that later, if he learns greater magic, she'll come collect not only what I gave you but everything you have. Remember chapter 12. Great houses devour their dead kin's power. She's not being sweet, she's staking a claim. Cut to Morgan City, Dakane's central hub, and the deployment ceremony against the Dark Elves. Turan's read, this is supposed to be a war send-off, but it looks just like a triumphal march. They're partying before the fight. Ominous confidence, love that for them. Aziz spots them and completely forgets he's a noble. The house head basically has to remind him, maintain your dignity. Never change, Aziz. But look closer at the house head, pale, sickly, clearly not well. And the rumor drops the real bomb. Long ago he fought Zahar's house head and took grave injuries he never fully recovered from. Zahar, the bloodline Turan is secretly carrying. Our boy is standing in a parade thrown by a man his own blood nearly killed, and nobody in that crowd knows it but us. Then the sick old man flexes anyway. Even in a wrecked body he channels magic at the absolute pinnacle, the crowd loses it. It's a flex and a warning. This is what an Arabian patriarch is, half dead. And the treasure he presents, a cloak. Sounds boring until you hear the specs. Just carrying it hardens your body, channel mana, and it climbs further until you're durable as a guardian bloodline noble. Catch, the mana drain is brutal, so you can't hold it long, rare even among great houses. So of course the house head asks Turan to formally join Arabian, which, callback, is the exact recruitment hook Aziz warned about last chapter. The gifts were always bait, and Turan politely says no. His reason is genuinely classy. He won't forget how he was treated, and Aziz and the Borg family are his friends forever. He's just not a man who can stay in one place. So they load him up anyway. First gift, a magic tool, no fancy function, just durable and sharp, a good knife. The story quietly arming its shepherd. Second, clothes. And this one's a soft callback. Turan literally envied Aziz's outfit earlier, so Aziz hands over a shirt and pants that don't stain and repair their own tears. The friendship detail that actually got me. You're a good friend, Turan, not because you saved my life, because watching how you live gave me a lot to think about. For a series obsessed with power, this is the sincerest beat in 15 chapters. Then the travel talk, where next? East to Carmine. Aziz's advice, if you can afford it, don't take a ship. The waves out there are so violent wine glasses dance in them. Noted drama king. And he name drops what's beyond those waves. Lahar's land, the Emerald Desert. Keep that in your pocket. It's clearly a destination flag. Goodbye's done, Turan's alone again, and immediately goes for a run. Callback to chapter 14, when Harem beat him with an iron bar and taught him that muscle beats mana. Man took the lesson and never stopped grinding. Then his nose does the thing. He catches a smell, not a campfire, something more repulsive, burning flesh. And every single time this series lets Turan smell something in chapters 7, 8, 11, it means bodies. His nose is a plot device now. He talks himself through it, bandit attack. Can't be dark elves, they shouldn't have come this far. He's wrong to feel safe and he knows it. Told you the nose meant bodies. He finds a massacre and one survivor, a child locked in a basement, half-starved and barely conscious. If that setup feels familiar, chapter 8, Midden's slaughtered crew, one dying survivor. The story is running the exact same beat on purpose. The kid gets one horrifying line out, they're all dead, that wizard, so a wizard did this. Not dark elves, not bandits, a wizard walked in and butchered them. Turan does the Turan thing, calms her down, I'm not your enemy, and moves to carry the child somewhere safe. Textbook hero rescue, which is exactly why the next panel is so mean. Murderer, someone shows up, sees a wizard standing over a field of corpses holding the lone survivor, and draws the worst possible conclusion. It's the oldest trope in the book, the rescuer framed as the killer, but the timing is vicious right after a whole chapter of him being beloved. My bet, whoever's yelling either serves the real wizard or is about to become Turan's problem, and this frame-up is the hook into the Eastern arc. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments.